Welcome again to the old principal. 我就是老校长. Now we have another English instructional program. There's one thing about these types of programs, and that is it allows you to improve your listening ability. 希望你的听力能力 will improve. And I think it will because it just happens that I don't speak a whole lot of Chinese. I try to use mostly English, and that, of course, can help you. But enough Chinese so you don't get discouraged. Now, let's listen to the story. This will be number 305, A Running Principal, 爱跑的校长, number 305. And let's listen as Mrs. Ash reads it, and I'll be right back.
Story 305, A Running Principal. I often encourage students and other teachers to take up jogging. Mr. Shen was our math and physics teacher. Because of my influence, he began to jog on a regular basis. From time to time, we would run together. Every time we ran, I was able to run faster. 2 years in succession, Mr. Shen and I participated in the Pingdong County Teachers Athletic Meet. We chose to run the 5,000-meter race. Both years, Mr. Shen beat me. To this day, I don't know how he did it. I guess it was the excitement and adrenaline of having hundreds of people watching. In the later years, we moved our high school up close to Sun Moon Lake in central Taiwan. Up in the mountains, I discovered that it took me about 1 hour to run the 12 kilometers up to the lake and then back to the school. It was uphill most of the way, and part of it was really steep. Of course, the good news was the return journey because it was almost all downhill. At the new school site, Mr. Shen was still pretty regular, but none of the others exercised. I encouraged the students to run, but they were very irregular. One time, I promised a scholarship to any student who could run up to the lake and back faster than my best record. I had run the distance in about 53 minutes. I was pretty confident that few, if any, students could beat that. I was away from the school on the day of the scholarship race, but Mr. Shen organized it. As I expected, the students just couldn't match my pace. That is, except for one skinny little 8th grader. His ancestors must have been feathered because he almost flew up to the lake and back. He beat my time by 2 minutes. When I returned to the school, I gave him a substantial scholarship.
Welcome back. We are ready to go. I often encouraged students and other teachers to take up jogging. What does it mean to take up jogging? Of course, jogging is manpao, right? So to take up jogging simply means to start jogging, to begin a habit of jogging. So I often encourage, 就鼓励 the students and other teachers to take up jogging. Going on. Mr. Shen was our math and physics teacher. Because of my influence, he began to jog on a regular basis. From time to time, we would run together. He was our math teacher. And physics teacher, physics, 物理, math, 数学. Because of my influence, he began to jog on a regular basis. Now, to jog on a regular basis means 定期运动 or 定期慢跑, okay? And sometimes, from time to time, we would run together. So that was fun. It was always fun to run with him, or jog in this case, going on. Every time we ran, I was able to run faster. I don't know, it just seemed that every time we jog, I think he's a little bit younger than I am. So he should have been a little faster, but I was able to run faster. 我跑得比较快. But going on, 2 years in succession, Mr. Shen and I participated in the Pingtung County Teachers Athletic Meet. Now, keep in mind that I am living where? I am in Taiwan. I live in Taiwan. I was principal of a high school there. And it was in Pingtung County. So I wanted, anyway, we were allowed to participate in the Pingtung County Teachers Athletic Meet, okay? Pingtung 县, okay? Teachers Athletic Meet. 老师的运动会. So these were teachers, 教职员 and 老师们, okay, 运动会, just teachers. That's cool. So, and now we chose to run the 5,000 meter race. Both years, Mr. Shen beat me, okay? We chose to run 这个5000公尺, that's 5公里, okay? And both years, Mr. Shen beat me. Now, this is interesting because normally 我是赢他，但是真正的比赛的时候，他就赢我。This is new. This is strange. This is quite interesting. So now I ask myself, why is this? In fact, the next slide will say, to this day, I don't know how he did it. 一直到如今，我不知道. I have no idea how he did it. How did he beat me in the race when I always beat him at all other times? He never beat me. I always beat him. I guess, 我猜, it was the excitement, okay, excitement, and the adrenaline. What is adrenaline? And I have to look at this because adrenaline is not a common word that I use. It's a 荷尔蒙, and it's adrenaline, 肾上腺素. 肾上腺素. You got that? I hope you did, because I can't remember it. It's a big word. Okay. So it was because of the adrenaline of having hundreds of people, 几百个人就看他. And of course, I was a foreigner. I was the only foreigner, 唯一的外国人. So it was a good opportunity to beat the foreigner. And also lots of people watching, and so you had this adrenaline, and it's making you very excited. And of course, running faster. Going on. In the later years, we moved our high school up close to Sun Moon Lake in central Taiwan. 过了几年, we moved later years. That means 过了一段时间. We moved the high school up to close to Sun Moon Lake, 靠近日月潭，在台湾的中部. This was up in the mountains. Beautiful place, and also a great place for jogging, exercising. Air so fresh, so nice. It was beautiful. Going on. Up in the mountains, I discovered it took me about 1 hour to run the 12 kilometers up to the lake and back. So that means that it's 6 kilometers up and 6 kilometers back. 上6公里，回来6公里. In total, 12 round trip, okay? 12 kilometers, 12公里. So, up in the mountains, see, we're up in the mountains. I discovered it took me about 1 hour to run 12 kilometers up to the lake and then back to the school. So this is, and I did this every now and then, okay? It was uphill most of the way. 这个都是上坡 going, that is. Going is uphill. Of course, whatever goes up must come down, right? So if you're going up the hill to start with, you will go down the hill when you come back, okay? So it was uphill most of the way, okay? 一直上坡，一直上去. Part of it was really steep. In those days, it was actually, well, we call it hairpin turns. Hairpin turns means they're very sharp, 拐弯的, so 很急, so you're going up and up. So it's very steep, 很陡, steep, 陡. Okay, and of course, the good news was that the return journey, 回程路, 6 kilometers, was almost 几乎都是下坡, downhill, 下坡. Up, down. At our new school site, Mr. Shun was still pretty regular, but none of the others exercised. Okay. At our new school, Mr. Shun was pretty regular. 相当定期运动. I don't think he is nowadays. Of course, we're much older. Okay. And he was pretty regular, but none of the others, 其他人都没有运动. So just Mr. Shun and myself. We were the only two that did the running. Going on. Yeah, I encouraged the students to run, but they were very irregular. Okay, I encouraged the students to run, but they were very irregular. What is irregular? If regular is 定期运动, then irregular is just the opposite, 相反. So they sometimes ran, sometimes did not run. It's just the opposite of regular. So they didn't have a plan to run. Going on, one time, I promised a scholarship to any student who would run up to the lake and back faster than my record. Okay, so I promised a scholarship. 奖学金. So I promised this. If they would run up there, but what's the condition? Okay, 条件是什么? Okay, if they would run up to the lake and back faster than my best record. 比我最快的记录好，就是打破我的记录。Okay, so you had to run faster up the hill and so on. Do you think I was worried? 会不会很紧张? Because this comes out of my own pocket. 这个是我自己的钱。Well, here's how fast I ran. I had run the distance in about 53 minutes. Now, I must tell you, I was much younger then, much younger. And so I ran the distance up there, 6 kilometers up, and then 6 kilometers back in about 53 minutes. I was pretty confident. 我的自信心呢, pretty strong that few, if any, 很少，或许没有任何一个学生 could beat that, 能够破我的记录。So, we're going to have a race. I was away from the school on the day of the scholarship race. What is this? This is a scholarship race. 奖学金的一个比赛. They have to run 12 kilometers, 12公里. But fortunately, Mr. Shen 老师, he organized it. 他这组织好. He made the arrangements and everything. I was away. I was doing something away from the school. But he took care of it, and I was happy. Because I knew Mr. Shen, he was very careful. He still ran some, and so he helped me organize it. 把这个比赛就组织好. Okay, going on. As I expected. Okay, expectation. As I expected. 按照我所预料的 or what I knew ahead of time, okay, the students just couldn't match my pace. 学生没办法按照我的速度. Now, pace, what's the difference between speed and pace? Well, many times we use the words interchangeably. So you can say he was running at a fast pace, okay, or he was running at a fast speed. It's almost the same. The word pace gives the idea of a controlled speed. A controlled speed. I start my race at a slow pace, controlled speed. In the middle of the race, I have a faster pace, controlled speed. I could have said faster speed. Pace just 它的含义就是一点点不一样, but they can be used interchangeably. As I expected, the students couldn't match my pace. That is, except for one skinny little 8th grader. That's right. There was one skinny, 很瘦很瘦初二年级的学生啊 and he ran fast. I was absolutely surprised. I mean, it caught me by surprise. Of course, I promised the money. He probably appreciated the money. His ancestors, 当然这个是开玩笑, so okay. But sometimes when we write English, we put the real and the not real together. So see if you can understand my meaning. Okay? 是有一点点幽默. Can you see it? His ancestors, 他的祖先 must have been feathered. 他的祖先 must have been feathered. 有羽毛的. Okay? Because he almost flew up to the lake and back. Now, let's look at this sentence again to make sure that we understand. His ancestors, 他的祖先, his father and his father's father and all these things, okay, must have been feathered. A feather is 羽毛, okay? And if I say must have been feathered, so 有羽毛的, okay? 因为, okay, he almost flew up to the lake. Now, flew, of course, is 飞, okay? Now, keep in mind that sometimes in English, when we use the word fly, he was just flying. Well, was he really flying? It says here, he flew up to the lake. Okay, almost flew. Well, at least I wrote almost flew. But in English, sometimes we use the word fly to meaning doing it very fast. He was just flying. Well, a human being doesn't fly. So you see the context, he was running very fast. He was just, in fact, we often say he was just flying along. Flying along. Okay, now, he flew up to the lake, flew back. That means he ran very quickly up to the lake and ran very quickly back. Going on, he beat my time by 2 minutes. Okay, 破我的纪录2分钟啊. Wow, that was very fast. In later years, he was a grown man, he had his own children, and I talked to him a little bit about this. I knew his sister, I knew his brother. In fact, they were all my students. Okay? When I returned to the school, I gave him a very substantial scholarship. Okay, let's take a look at this. When I returned, 回到学校, I gave him a substantial scholarship. Now, I gave him a substantial scholarship, meaning 我给他大笔钱这个奖学金啊。Look at this word. This is English for you. Substantial. It means 有 substance, 有物体的. I mean, there's something there. So substantial means large. Substantial scholarship. Well, there you have it. This is my attempt at being a running principal, even to this day. Even to this day. My students are now, some of them are in their, some of them, my older students, are now in their 60s, okay, 50s and 60s, and 50 years old, 60 years old, and they will still tell me about when they were students. I would make them go out and exercise, make them go out and run. So this is the running principle. I loved running, and the students, of course, I'm not so sure that they liked doing it, but it now, not then, now is a pleasant memory that we can look back on. He can look back on. Okay, email address, 我们电邮地址 theoldprincipal@gmail.com. And our website, 我们的网站是 www.theoldprincipal.org. With that, it's time to say goodbye, but thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you next time.